Segment 12. Love after many years, when feelings change. Let me speak about something that is rarely discussed honestly. What happens to love after 10, 20, or 30 years? Young people often imagine love as a constant state of excitement, butterflies in the stomach, long conversations late into the night, the anticipation of seeing each other again. And those things are beautiful, but they are not the whole story. Real love matures. Just as a tree does not remain a sapling forever, love does not remain infatuation forever. In the beginning, you love someone for who they seem to be. Years later, you love them for who they truly are. That is a profound difference. At first, you see strengths. Later, you also know weaknesses. You know what frightens them. You know where they struggle. You know the wounds they carry from childhood. You know the mistakes they regret. And yet you stay. That is where love becomes most beautiful. The world says, if the feeling fades, leave. God says, if you remain faithful, you will discover a deeper love. Many people spend their entire lives chasing emotions. They change partners. They change relationships. They change environments. They pursue the feeling they had in the beginning. But the problem is that every beginning eventually becomes ordinary, even in the healthiest marriage. The question is not whether feelings will change. They will. The question is what you will do when they do. Will you walk away? Will you stay? Will you continue building? Love after many years is less like fireworks and more like a fire in a fireplace. Fireworks are spectacular, but they last only moments. A fireplace can warm a home all night. It is quieter, less dramatic, but infinitely more dependable. That is what enduring love becomes. Steady, faithful, strong. And strength is far more valuable than excitement. Segment 13. The art of listening. Let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you truly listened to someone? Not waiting for your turn to speak. Not preparing your response. Not mentally defending yourself. Just listening. Most relationship problems do not begin with bad intentions. They begin with misunderstanding. One person says one thing. The other hears something entirely different. And suddenly a wall appears between them. That is why the book of James gives a remarkably practical instruction. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Imagine how different marriages would be if people followed that verse. Imagine how many arguments would disappear before they ever began. Listening is an act of love. When you truly listen, you tell another person, you matter. Your thoughts matter. Your feelings matter. I want to understand before I respond. Many people want to be heard. Far fewer people want to understand. But understanding is where intimacy begins. Your spouse may not need a solution. They may need compassion. Your boyfriend or girlfriend may not need advice. They may need your presence. Job learned this lesson the hard way. His friends talked endlessly. They analyzed. They explained. They criticized. But what Job needed was someone willing to sit beside him in silence. Sometimes love sounds like wise words. Sometimes love sounds like nothing at all. Learning the difference is wisdom. And wisdom is one of the greatest gifts you can bring into a relationship. Segment 14. Small habits create great marriages. People often think great marriages are built on great moments. A beautiful wedding. An unforgettable vacation. A grand romantic gesture. Those moments are wonderful, but they're not what sustains a marriage. Great marriages are built on ordinary days. Small habits repeated thousands of times. A kind word in the morning. A kiss before leaving for work. A sincere apology. A thank you that is actually spoken. A text message asking, "How are you doing today?" These things seem insignificant, but they are not. A relationship is never built in a day. It is built daily, brick by brick, choice by choice, conversation by conversation. The strongest marriages I know are not dramatic. They are consistent. The husband chooses kindness again. The wife chooses patience again. Both choose forgiveness again. Neither is perfect, but both keep showing up. That is what love looks like in real life. Not perfection, persistence, not constant emotion, constant commitment. And over time, those small acts become a legacy. One day you look back and realize that what seemed ordinary was actually sacred, because every small act of love was building something eternal. Segment 15. The danger of taking love for granted. Let me tell you about one of the greatest dangers in any relationship. It is not conflict. It is not distance. It is not even temptation. It is familiarity. The moment you begin to assume that someone will always be there, you stop appreciating them. At first, everything feels special. You notice every message, every smile, every sacrifice. You are grateful for every moment together. Then time passes. Days become months. Months become years. And slowly, without realizing it, gratitude begins to fade. You stop saying thank you. You stop noticing the little things. You stop treating your spouse as a gift and begin treating them as a guarantee. That is dangerous. Nothing in this life is guaranteed. Not your health, not your wealth, not even tomorrow. The people you love are gifts entrusted to you for a season. Some for many years, some for only a few, but none should ever be taken for granted. The Bible teaches us to give thanks in all circumstances. Why? Because gratitude protects the heart. A grateful heart notices blessings that others overlook. A grateful husband sees his wife's daily sacrifices. A grateful wife sees her husband's quiet acts of service. Gratitude turns ordinary moments into treasures. Try this simple exercise. Before you go to sleep tonight, think of 3 things your partner did today that made your life better. Maybe they made coffee. Maybe they listened when you were stressed. Maybe they simply stayed. Notice it. Appreciate it. Speak it aloud. Relationships starve where appreciation disappears. Relationships flourish where gratitude grows. Never stop being thankful for the people God has placed in your life. Segment 16. Love during difficult seasons. Every couple dreams about the good days. The wedding day. The honeymoon. The first home. The birth of children. The celebrations. The victories. Very few people imagine the difficult seasons. But difficult seasons come to everyone. A diagnosis, a financial crisis, a miscarriage, the loss of a parent, a season of depression, a season of uncertainty. No marriage escapes suffering. The question is not whether suffering will arrive. The question is whether your love can survive it. The strongest relationships are not those that avoided hardship. They are those that walked through hardship together. Anyone can stay when life is easy. Character is revealed when life becomes difficult. When Job lost everything, he experienced unimaginable pain. Yet through that suffering, he discovered something deeper than comfort. He discovered faithfulness. And relationships often work the same way. There are moments when you cannot fix your partner's pain. You cannot solve the problem. You cannot make everything better. All you can do is remain. Sometimes presence is the greatest gift. Not answers, not solutions. Presence. Sitting beside someone in the darkness and saying, "I am still here." Those 4 words have carried many marriages through storms. I am still here. When money is gone, I am still here. When health is failing, I am still here. When life feels unfair, I am still here. That is covenant love. That is enduring love. That is love that reflects the heart of God. Segment 17. The power of humility. Let me tell you something that can save almost any relationship. Humility. Not intelligence. Not attractiveness. Not success. Humility. Pride destroys relationships faster than almost anything else. Pride says, "I am right." Pride says, "It is their fault." Pride says, "I have nothing to learn." Humility says, "Maybe I am wrong." Humility says, "Help me understand." Humility says, "I am sorry." Those 3 words, "I am sorry," have healed countless wounds. And yet they're often the hardest words to say. Why? Because apologizing feels like losing. But in reality, refusing to apologize is what causes the greatest losses. A humble person is teachable. A humble person can grow. A humble person can repair what has been damaged. Jesus, the greatest person who ever lived, described himself as gentle and humble in heart. Think about that. The King of Kings chose humility. If humility was not beneath Jesus, it should not be beneath us. In every relationship, ask yourself, what am I contributing to this problem? That question alone can transform a conflict, because growth begins where blame ends. And love grows best in the soil of humility. Segment 18. The beauty of forgiveness. Let me speak about something that separates healthy relationships from broken ones. Forgiveness. Everyone says they believe in forgiveness. But watch what happens when someone is actually wronged. Suddenly, forgiveness becomes complicated. Suddenly, there are conditions. Suddenly, the wounded person says, "You don't understand what they did." And that is true. Perhaps I do not understand, but I know what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not pretending nothing happened. Forgiveness is not saying the pain does not matter. Forgiveness is not allowing someone to hurt you repeatedly. Real forgiveness acknowledges the wound. Real forgiveness names the offense. Real forgiveness does not minimize the damage. But real forgiveness also refuses to let the wound define the relationship forever. There is a profound difference between forgiveness and trust. Forgiveness is required. Trust must be rebuilt. Forgiveness is immediate. Trust takes time. Forgiveness is a decision. Trust is the fruit of consistent behavior. Many people confuse these two. They think forgiving means forgetting. They think forgiving means acting as though nothing changed. That is not wisdom. That is denial. When someone breaks your trust repeatedly, forgiveness says, "I release my right to punish you." But wisdom says, "I will not give you unlimited access to hurt me again." Jesus spoke about forgiveness in radical terms. 70 times 7. Not because counting matters, but because the heart of forgiveness is endless. Why such extreme language? Because unforgiveness destroys the person holding it. The bitterness you carry does not hurt the person who wronged you. It poisons you. It steals your sleep. It colors every interaction. It makes you suspicious of people who have never hurt you. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is strength. It takes tremendous courage to say, "You owe me, and I am releasing the debt." That is what forgiveness is. Canceling a debt that could never be fully repaid. In marriage, this is essential. Two imperfect people cannot live in close proximity without wounding each other. Not possible. Your spouse will fail you. Not maybe. Not possibly. Will. And you will fail your spouse. The question is not whether failure will occur. The question is what happens after. Will you keep a record of wrongs? Will you rehearse every mistake? Will you hold yesterday's failures over today's relationship? Or will you forgive as you have been forgiven? The most loving couples I know are not those who have never hurt each other. They are those who have learned to forgive quickly and completely. They apologize without excuses. They forgive without conditions. They move forward without revenge. That is the path to peace. That is the path to intimacy. That is the path to love that lasts. Segment 19. The weight of words. Let me speak about one of the most powerful forces in human relationships. Words. With words you can build. With words you can destroy. With words you can heal. With words you can wound. And once words leave your mouth, you can never take them back. The book of Proverbs says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." That is not poetry. That is not exaggeration. That is reality. Think about your own life. What is one sentence someone spoke to you years ago that still affects you today? A parent's criticism, a teacher's discouragement, a friend's betrayal. Those words live inside you. They echo in your mind during moments of insecurity. They whisper lies when you try to believe in yourself. Now think about something else. What is one sentence of encouragement you still remember? Someone who believed in you. Someone who saw something in you that you could not see yourself. Someone who spoke life into your darkest moment. Those words also live inside you. They fight back the lies. They give you courage when you want to quit. They remind you that you are more than your failures. Words matter. In marriage, words matter most. The way you speak to your spouse becomes the atmosphere of your home. If you speak with harshness, the atmosphere becomes cold. If you speak with contempt, the atmosphere becomes hostile. If you speak with kindness, the atmosphere becomes warm. If you speak with respect, the atmosphere becomes safe. You can say, "You never help around here." Or you can say, "I am feeling overwhelmed. Could we work together on this?" Same problem, different words, completely different outcome. You can say, "You are so lazy." Or you can say, "I know you have been tired lately. What is going on?" Same observation, different words, completely different response. The wise person learns to choose words carefully, not because they are manipulative, because they are loving. Love does not say whatever it feels like saying. Love considers how words land in another person's heart. Before you speak, ask yourself 3 questions. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If you cannot answer yes to all 3, perhaps silence is wiser. I am not suggesting dishonesty. Honesty is essential, but honesty without kindness is cruelty. And cruelty has no place in a loving relationship. Learn to say hard things softly. Learn to say honest things gently. Learn to say necessary things at the right time. The right word at the right moment can change everything. The wrong word at the wrong moment can destroy years of trust. Choose your words like you are choosing a gift, because you are. Every word you speak is a gift or a weapon. What will you give today? Segment 20. Being present in a distracted world. Let me speak about something that has never been more difficult than it is right now. Being present. You live in an age of endless distraction. Your phone buzzes. Notifications demand attention. Emails pile up. Social media calls. News cycles spin. And in the middle of all this noise, real people are trying to talk to you. Your child wants to tell you about their day. Your spouse wants to share something important. Your friend is hurting and needs you to listen. But your attention is fractured. You are there, but you are not there. Your body is present. Your mind is somewhere else. This is not a small problem. This is one of the greatest threats to love in modern times. Because love requires attention. Love requires focus. Love requires the ability to look at someone and truly see them. Think about the last time someone gave you their full, undivided attention. Not glancing at their phone. Not watching the television over your shoulder. Not thinking about what they wanted to say next. Just looking at you. Listening to you. Being with you. How did that feel? Rare, I imagine. Valuable, certainly. Memorable, almost certainly. Now, ask yourself, when was the last time you gave that gift to someone else? Being present is more difficult than it sounds. It requires fighting against every impulse of modern life. It requires turning off notifications. It requires setting aside your own agenda. It requires choosing to be bored so someone else can feel heard. But being present is worth the cost. Jesus modeled this throughout his ministry. When people came to him, he was not distracted. He saw them. He heard them. He touched them. In a crowded world, he made each person feel like they were the only person in the room. That is love. That is presence. That is what people desperately need. Practical wisdom for your relationships. When your spouse speaks, put down your phone. When your child calls, turn off the television. When a friend confides, close your laptop. Look at them. Face them. Listen to the words and the emotion behind the words. Ask follow-up questions. Remember what they said so you can reference it later. These actions are small, but they communicate something powerful. You matter more than my distraction. The greatest gift you can give someone is your presence. Not your presence. Not your accomplishments. Not your advice. Your presence. Be where you are. Be with who you are with. Give the people you love the attention they deserve. Because one day you will wish you had. And by then, it will be too late. Segment 21. What to do when love feels like it's gone. Let me speak honestly about something that frightens many people. What do you do when the feeling of love disappears? You wake up one morning and the excitement is gone. The butterflies have flown away. The passion feels like a memory. And you wonder, did I make a mistake? Is there something wrong with me? Should I leave? These questions are terrifying, but they are also normal. Feelings are not permanent. Feelings change with sleep, hunger, stress, and hormones. Feelings change with seasons of life, stages of marriage, and circumstances beyond your control. If you build your relationship on feelings alone, your relationship will collapse. Because feelings cannot be trusted as the foundation. The foundation must be something stronger. Commitment, covenant, promise. A promise made before God and witnesses that says, I will love you not only when I feel like it, but especially when I do not. This sounds harsh to modern ears. We have been taught to follow our hearts. We have been told that love is a feeling that should never fade. We have been sold a lie. Love is an action. Love is a choice. Love is what you do when the feeling is absent. Think about how God loves. God does not love you because you are always lovable. God does not love you because the feeling is always warm. God loves you because God made a covenant. God is faithful even when you are faithless. That is the model for human love. Not perfect, of course, but aiming in the same direction. When the feeling fades, what should you do? First, do not panic. Seasonal changes in emotion are normal. Every marriage experiences dry seasons. Every long relationship has moments of boredom. This does not mean the relationship is over. It means the relationship is shifting. Second, examine your own heart. Have you been feeding the relationship? Have you been investing time and energy? Have you been taking your spouse for granted? Often the feeling fades because our effort faded first. Third, choose to act lovingly even when you do not feel loving. Smile anyway. Serve anyway. Speak kindly anyway. Stay faithful anyway. Action often leads to feeling. You cannot always think your way into loving feelings, but you can act your way there. Fourth, remember the history. Recall why you fell in love in the first place. Look at old photographs. Remember inside jokes. Tell the story of how you met. Gratitude for the past can rekindle hope for the future. Fifth, seek help if needed. Sometimes the fading feeling is a symptom of something deeper. Unresolved conflict, unhealed wounds, undiagnosed depression. Professional help is not weakness. It is wisdom. The worst thing you can do when love feels gone is nothing. Passivity will not restore anything. Complaining will not rebuild anything. Waiting for the feeling to return on its own rarely works. But active love, choosing to serve, choosing to listen, choosing to stay, that is how love returns. Not like a lightning strike, like the dawn, slowly, gradually, almost imperceptibly, until one day you realize the light has returned, and you are grateful you did not give up in the darkness. Segment 22. The gift of physical affection. Let me speak about something that is often misunderstood. Physical affection. In a world obsessed with sex, the simple gift of non-sexual touch has been forgotten. Holding hands, a hand on the shoulder, a hug that lasts longer than 3 seconds, sitting close enough to feel warmth, a kiss on the forehead. These actions cost nothing, but they communicate everything. You are safe with me. You are not alone. I am glad to be near you. Many couples have active sex lives, but almost no physical affection outside the bedroom. This is a loss, because affection builds a foundation of safety. Affection says, I want you, not just your body. Affection says, your presence is enough. Children understand this instinctively. They climb into laps. They reach for hands. They lean against parents while watching television. They do not need a reason to touch. They simply want to be close. Adults lose this. We become self-conscious. We become busy. We become distant. And over time, distance becomes normal. Until one day you realize you have not touched your spouse in weeks except to pass the salt. This is not how love thrives. The Apostle Paul encouraged believers to greet one another with a holy kiss. In his culture, physical greeting was normal. In our culture, perhaps a hug or a handshake. But the principle remains. Physical touch communicates connection that words cannot reach. Touch releases oxytocin. Oxytocin builds bonding. Bonding creates 安全感. Safety enables vulnerability. Vulnerability produces intimacy. A simple touch starts a chain reaction toward deeper love. If physical affection has faded in your relationship, you can rebuild it. Start small. Touch their arm when you speak. Hold hands during prayer. Sit on the same side of the booth at a restaurant. Offer a hug before leaving for work. These actions may feel awkward at first. Awkwardness is not a sign to stop. Awkwardness is a sign that you are rebuilding something that atrophied. Keep going. Soon the awkwardness fades, and in its place grows warmth. Warmth that reminds you why you chose each other. Warmth that creates a home in each other's arms. Do not underestimate the power of a simple touch. It may be the most important thing you do today. Segment 23. Conflict that heals rather than harms. Let me speak about something that terrifies many people. Conflict. Most people believe conflict is a sign that something is wrong, that healthy relationships do not fight, that love means agreement. This is not true. Conflict is inevitable. Two people cannot share life without occasionally wanting different things. The question is not whether conflict will happen. The question is what happens during conflict. Does conflict tear down or build up? Does conflict create distance or understanding? Does conflict leave wounds or open doors? The difference is not the presence of conflict. The difference is how you fight. Unhealthy conflict attacks the person. I cannot believe you are so selfish. You never think about anyone but yourself. What is wrong with you? These statements are not about solving a problem. They are about hurting a person. They are weapons, and weapons leave scars. Healthy conflict attacks the problem. When you do X, I feel Y. Can we talk about what happened? I need help understanding something. These statements invite conversation. They assume good intentions while naming real pain. They leave room for growth. The Bible says, "Do not let the sun go down on your anger." This does not mean you must resolve every conflict before bedtime. Some conflicts take days or weeks to resolve. But it does mean do not let anger settle into bitterness. Do not go to sleep nursing resentment. Do not use silence as punishment. Do not withdraw as revenge. If you cannot resolve the conflict tonight, at least say, "I am still angry, but I am not leaving. We will talk more tomorrow." That is love in the middle of conflict. That is safety when everything feels unsafe. Here are practical rules for conflict that heals. 1. Stay on topic. Do not bring up every failure from the last 10 years. Fight about what you are fighting about. 2. Use I statements. I feel rather than you always. 3. No name calling. Ever. There is no justification for calling your spouse a fool, an idiot, or any other degrading name. 4. Take breaks when needed. If you are too angry to speak kindly, say, "I need 20 minutes to calm down. Then, I want to continue." 5. Listen more than you speak. Seek to understand before seeking to be understood. 6. Apologize quickly when you are wrong. Do not defend. Do not explain. Just say, "I was wrong. I am sorry." 7. Look for solutions, not blame. The goal is not to prove who is guilty. The goal is to solve the problem and restore connection. Conflict done well actually deepens intimacy. Because when you fight fairly and forgive fully, you prove that your relationship is stronger than any disagreement. That knowledge builds confidence. Confidence that whatever comes, you can face it together. And that confidence is priceless. Segment 24. Love and sacrifice. Let me speak about a word that has become unpopular. Sacrifice. The modern world tells you to pursue your happiness, follow your dreams, protect your boundaries, put yourself first. And there is some wisdom in these ideas. You cannot pour from an empty cup. But the modern world has forgotten something essential. Love always requires sacrifice. Not occasional sacrifice. Not convenient sacrifice. Real sacrifice. Giving up what you want for someone else. Choosing their comfort over your convenience. Staying when leaving would be easier. Sacrifice is not popular because sacrifice is not easy. But sacrifice is the language of love. Think about the people who have loved you well. What did they give up for you? A parent who worked extra hours. A spouse who moved for your career. A friend who listened at midnight. A grandparent who sacrificed savings to help with education. Their sacrifices shaped your life. And you may not have realized it at the time. That is the nature of sacrifice. It often goes unnoticed. It rarely receives applause. It is the quiet work of love behind the scenes. Jesus said, "Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends." Most of us will never die for someone, but we can lay down our lives daily. We lay down our pride. We lay down our preferences. We lay down our desire to be right. We lay down our entertainment time to be present. We lay down our money to meet needs. We lay down our energy to serve. These small deaths add up to a life of love. In marriage, sacrifice is daily. You sacrifice sleep when your child is sick. You sacrifice hobbies when your spouse needs help. You sacrifice the last piece of cake because your partner loves it more. You sacrifice the argument you could win because peace matters more than victory. None of these sacrifices are dramatic, but they are the threads that weave two lives into one. The world says, "If you are not happy, leave." God says, "I have called you to something greater than happiness. I have called you to holiness." Happiness is a feeling. Holiness is a character. Feelings fade. Character remains. And character is built through sacrifice. Every time you choose to love when it costs you something, you become more like Christ. Every time you serve when you would rather be served, you grow. Every time you stay when leaving would be easier, you mature. Do not run from sacrifice. Embrace it, not as a burden, as a privilege. Because the ability to sacrifice for love means you have someone worth sacrificing for. And that is a gift. Segment 25. Building a shared story. Let me speak about something that holds relationships together through decades. A shared story. Every couple has a story. The story of how you met. The first date. The first fight. The moment you knew. The proposal. The wedding. These memories are treasures. But the shared story is not only about the past. It is also about the present and the future. The shared story answers questions like, what are we building together? What do we value? Where are we going? What matters most to us as a couple? Couples who cannot answer these questions drift apart. They live parallel lives in the same house. They share a bed, but not a mission. They raise children, but not a vision. A strong shared story gives purpose to your daily choices. It helps you decide where to spend money. It helps you decide how to spend time. It helps you decide what to prioritize. Without a shared story, every decision becomes negotiation. With a shared story, every decision becomes alignment. How do you build a shared story? First, talk about your values. What matters most? Is it faith, family, generosity, adventure, security? Write down your top values individually, then compare. The overlap becomes your shared values. Second, create rituals. Rituals are shared stories acted out. Sunday morning church, Friday night dinner, annual vacation, bedtime prayer, anniversary traditions. These rituals become the rhythm of your shared life. Third, set goals together. Where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want to achieve? What legacy do you want to leave? Goals do not have to be grand. They just have to be shared. Fourth, remember together. Tell your story often. Remember the hard times you survived. Remember the miracles you witnessed. Remember the laughter and the tears. Remembrance strengthens gratitude. Gratitude strengthens love. Fifth, adapt when necessary. Life changes. Children grow. Careers shift. Health fails. The shared story must be flexible enough to include new chapters, but the core values remain. The covenant remains. The commitment remains. A couple with a strong shared story can survive almost anything because they know they are not just two individuals sharing space. They are a team on a mission. They are a family with a history. They are partners building something that will outlast them. That is powerful. That is beautiful. That is worth protecting. Segment 26. The role of community in love. Let me speak about something many couples neglect.
Community.
The modern idea of romantic love is intensely private. Two people against the world, finding everything they need in each other. This sounds beautiful, but it is also dangerous, because no two people can meet every need. No marriage can provide all the wisdom, support, and perspective that humans require. You need others, not as threats to your relationship, as guardians of your relationship. The book of Ecclesiastes says, "Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves." A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. The third strand can represent God, but it can also represent the community that surrounds and supports your love. Healthy couples have friends who speak truth. Friends who say, "You are being unreasonable." Friends who say, "Have you considered their perspective?" Friends who say, "I have been there, and here is what helped." Pride isolates. Wisdom invites counsel. The foolish person thinks, "We can figure this out alone." The wise person knows, "We need help, and that is okay." Community also provides accountability. Not the harsh, judgmental accountability that shames, but the loving accountability that asks, "How is your marriage? Are you protecting your heart? What have you done lately to invest in your spouse?" These questions are gifts. They interrupt the drift toward distance. They force you to examine what you would rather ignore. Many marriages fail not because of one dramatic betrayal, but because of slow, unnoticed drift. And community is one of the best antidotes to drift. Find a few couples who take marriage seriously. Share meals together. Share struggles honestly. Share wisdom generously. Pray for each other. Celebrate victories. Weep over losses. This is not optional for thriving love. It is essential. Individualism tells you that you do not need anyone. God tells you that you were made for connection. Connection with God. Connection with your spouse. Connection with a family of faith. Do not try to do this alone. You cannot.
And you were never meant to.
Segment 27. When love is not enough. Let me speak about something difficult. There are situations where love is not enough, where staying is not wise, where leaving is not failure but faithfulness to something higher. I have spoken about commitment, about covenant, about staying when feelings fade, and all of that is true, but there are exceptions, and exceptions must be acknowledged. Abuse. If your spouse physically harms you, threatens your life, or makes you afraid for your safety, love does not require you to stay. God does not ask you to be a victim. The Bible calls husbands to love their wives as Christ loved the church. Christ did not abuse his church. Christ protected his church. Christ gave himself for his church. Abuse is the opposite of love. If you are in an abusive relationship, seek help. Tell someone you trust. Contact professionals. Make a safety plan. Leaving may be the most loving thing you do for yourself and for your children. Adultery without repentance. Jesus acknowledged that marital unfaithfulness is grounds for divorce. Not because divorce is God's desire, but because covenant has been broken, and sometimes the trust cannot be rebuilt. I am not saying divorce is required after infidelity. Many marriages have survived betrayal and grown stronger through forgiveness. But when the unfaithful spouse refuses to repent, refuses to change, refuses to rebuild trust, the faithful spouse is not trapped. God gives grace for leaving. Abandonment. The Apostle Paul wrote that if an unbelieving spouse leaves, the believing spouse is not bound. God does not force you to chase someone who has already left. Some spouses walk away completely. They abandon their families. They refuse all efforts at reconciliation. In these cases, the abandoned spouse is free. Not free to celebrate, but free to move forward without guilt. Constant, unrepentant patterns of destruction. There are marriages where no single event justifies leaving, but the cumulative effect of years of addiction, cruelty, manipulation, or neglect destroys the relationship. At some point, staying enables the destruction. Leaving may be the wake-up call that leads to real change. Or it may be the merciful end of something that was never truly a marriage. I share these exceptions carefully, because some people use them as excuses to avoid the hard work of love. But others need permission to leave a situation that is destroying their soul. If you are in a destructive marriage, seek wise counsel.
Talk to your pastor.
Talk to a Christian counselor. Talk to mature friends who know your situation. Do not make decisions alone in the dark. And do not let anyone condemn you for protecting yourself and your children. God is not a God of abuse. God is not a God of bondage. God is a God of freedom, healing, and restoration. Sometimes restoration happens in the marriage. Sometimes restoration happens after leaving. But God's heart is always for your flourishing. Never forget that. Segment 28. Rebuilding trust after it breaks. Let me speak about one of the hardest tasks in any relationship. Rebuilding trust. Trust is like a mirror, beautiful when whole. But once broken, it can be repaired. However, the cracks remain visible, and the mirror will never be exactly what it was before. This is not pessimism. It is honesty. Trust broken can be rebuilt, but the rebuilding is difficult. It requires something both parties often resist. For the one who broke trust, rebuilding requires complete honesty. No more secrets. No more half-truths. No more defensiveness. The person who broke trust must become an open book. Passwords shared. Location available. Questions answered patiently. This feels like prison to someone who values privacy. But privacy was lost when trust was broken. Rebuilding means accepting that earned trust looks different than assumed trust. It also requires genuine repentance. Not just, I am sorry I got caught, but I see how I hurt you, and I want to change. Change must be visible. Words are cheap. Behavior is evidence. For the one who is betrayed, rebuilding requires a willingness to heal. You cannot stay angry forever and also rebuild trust. Anger is understandable, but at some point, you must choose to move toward forgiveness. That does not mean forgetting. That does not mean trusting immediately. It means leaving the door open for trust to grow again. It also requires not using the past as a weapon. Once you have forgiven, you cannot bring up the same offense in every future argument. You lied 5 years ago is not relevant to you forgot to take out the trash. If you keep punishing your spouse for past sins, you prevent healing. Rebuilding trust requires both parties to work. The betrayer works to become trustworthy. The betrayed works to become trusting again. Neither is easy. Both are necessary. Time alone does not heal trust wounds. Active effort over time heals trust wounds. Days of consistency, weeks of honesty, months of patience, years of faithfulness. Slowly, trust returns. Not naive trust that says, you could never hurt me, but mature trust that says, I know you hurt me before. I believe you have changed. I am choosing to believe the best about you again. That is courageous. That is beautiful. That is love fighting for what matters. Segment 29. Love as a reflection of divine love. Let me speak about the deepest foundation of all. Human love reflects divine love. Every marriage, every friendship, every family relationship is a picture of something larger. The Bible says that marriage is a mystery that points to Christ and the church. Your love story is not just your love story. It is meant to display something about God. When you forgive your spouse, you show the world what God's forgiveness looks like. When you serve your family, you show what God's service looks like. When you stay faithful through difficulty, you show what God's faithfulness looks like. When you sacrifice for love, you show what God's sacrifice looks like. This is a high calling, but it is also a comfort, because when your love feels weak, you are connected to the source of all love. You do not have to manufacture love from nothing. You draw from God's infinite love. You love because God first loved you. You forgive because God forgave you. You stay because God never leaves. Your human love will always be imperfect. You will fail. You will stumble. You will say the wrong thing. You will be selfish. But God's love in you does not depend on your perfection. It depends on God's presence. Every morning you can ask for more love. Every conflict you can ask for patience. Every failure you can ask for forgiveness. The supply never runs out. God's love is not a feeling that fades. God's love is a person who remains. And that person lives in you. So when you cannot love your spouse on your own strength, you do not have to. You access the strength of the one who loved perfectly. This changes everything. Love is not merely a human project. It is a divine gift, not an achievement, a grace, not a duty, a delight, not a burden, a privilege. The next time you struggle to love, remember, you are not alone. The God who is love dwells in you. Draw from that well. It never runs dry. And as you drink, you will find strength to love again. Not perfectly, but really. Not constantly, but faithfully. And that is enough. That is always enough. Segment 30. The legacy of love. Let me speak about the end of a story. Or rather, the story that continues after you are gone. Every life leaves a legacy. Not necessarily a famous legacy. Not a legacy recognized by the world. But a legacy felt by the people who knew you. Your children. Your grandchildren. Your friends. Your community. What will they remember about your love? Will they remember that you were always busy? Will they remember that you were always stressed? Will they remember that you prioritized work over presence? Or will they remember something else? Will they remember that you laughed easily? Will they remember that you listened carefully? Will they remember that you forgave quickly? Will they remember that you made everyone feel seen? The choice is yours. Not the entire choice. Circumstances affect legacies. But the daily choices accumulate. Every kind word is a brick in the legacy. Every patient response is a beam in the structure. Every act of service is a room in the home you are building for those who come behind you. Proverbs says, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children." That inheritance is not only financial. It is emotional. It is spiritual. It is relational. Your children learn how to love by watching you love. They learn how to fight by watching you fight. They learn how to forgive by watching you forgive. They learn how to stay by watching you stay. This is sobering, but it is also motivating. You are not just loving for today. You are loving for tomorrow. You are teaching the next generation what love looks like. That is a sacred responsibility. Do not take it lightly. Do not waste it on selfishness. Do not exchange it for temporary pleasure. Build a legacy of love. Not flashy love. Not Instagram love. Real love. Steady love. Faithful love. The kind of love that outlasts you. The kind of love that makes people say, "I want what they had." The kind of love that points to something beyond itself. That is the love that matters. That is the love that lasts. That is the love that reflects the heart of God. Go and love like that. Not perfectly, but persistently. Not because you're strong, but because you are connected to the one who is. And may your love story be a gift to everyone who watches. For today, for tomorrow, and for eternity.